Hello, beautiful people. You're welcome to Naho Blessed Fashion. If you're new here, you're highly welcome. Please do well to join this family, all right? We will be sharing detailed tutorials and you don't want to miss it. So today we are going to be making this beautiful free dress with a bill sleeve, as you can see. So if this is what you would like to learn, definitely keep on watching. So I'm going to make a little pattern drafting because of the material I'm using. It doesn't allow me to draw chalk on it. We will use this one pattern to cut the front and the back piece. For the neck width of the dress, I'm going to be making use of 2.5 inches. And then for the neck depth of the back, I'm going to be using 1 inch. That includes my sewing allowance. I'll go ahead and connect them just like this. So I include the sewing allowance on the pattern. By the time I stitch it down, it will be 3 inches neck width and 1.5 inch neck depth for the back. So for the front, I'm going to be using 2.5 inches neck depth, but on the pattern I'm going to mark 2 inches, right, for the front neck depth. By the time I sew it, it will be 2.5 inches. If you want your neck to be wider, please make it wider, all right? You can make use of 3 by 3 inches. The next thing I'll do is to mark my shoulder measurement. My shoulder is 14, divided by 2 is 7 inches, and I'll mark my shoulder slope of 1 inch at the shoulder measurement. Then I'll connect it to the neck width just like this to form my shoulder slant. Then I'll mark my armhole measurement, divide by 2, which is 7 inches. You can just make use of your shoulder, divide by 2 as well. And then I'll connect it just like this, extend the line, and this is my chest line. Okay, I'm going to mark the waist measurement, which is 16 inches, and I'm going to mark the hip measurement, which is 24 inches, and I'm going to mark the full length of the dress, which is 38, including sewing allowance. All right, if you want yours shorter, please go ahead and make it shorter. So I'll mark the same measurement here, my waist, my hip, and the dress length, and I'll connect a straight line just like this. So this is my waistline, my hip line, and the dress length. That's just the measurement we need. All right, next I'm going to mark my bust circumference, divide by 4. My round bust measurements, divide by 4. I'll mark it here, and I'll add extra 2 inches, 1.5 inch for ease and 1/2 inch for sewing allowance. Okay, so you want to give the dress ease. You can make use of 1 inch, but I'm making use of 1.5 inch. I'm going to divide the armhole depth by 2, and I'll go in by 1/2 inch at that point. So for the back armhole depth, I'm just going to connect the center to the bust measurement just like this. And for the front armhole, I'm going to connect it at the 1/2 inch I came in by. I'm going to connect it just like this to the bust measurement. I hope this is clear. The next thing I will do is to take my waist measurement. So this is the waistline, the hip line, and the dress length. All right, so I'll take my waist measurement at the waistline, and I'll add the extra 2 inches. Like I said, 1.5 inch is for ease and 1/2 inch is for sewing allowance. That's 2 inches. All right, at the hip line, I'll take the hip measurement, divide by 4, the hip circumference, divide by 4, and I'll add the 2 inch as well. What I have at the hip line, I'm going to mark it at the dress length. Okay, and then I'll add extra 2 inches for it to give it that A-line shape. All right, so what I have at the hip line, I'll mark it here, and then I added extra 2 inches to that. I hope this is very clear. I'll connect the bust measurement to the waist measurement, and then the waist to the hip with a curve, and then the hip to the dress length just like this. You can make use of a straight ruler. All right, make sure you give it a nice curve. I'll go ahead and cut it, guys. I'm so sorry, I have cold. So I'll cut out the back armhole first. All right, and then the back neckline as well, and then I'll add 1/2 inch at the shoulder for sewing allowance. Okay, so we added all our sewing allowance on the pattern already. I'll fold my fabric into two and place the pattern just like this to cut the back piece. We are using this for both the front and the back piece. So I'm going to cut it out just like this. Like I said, my fabric is folded into two, okay, and the center back is on fold. The dress doesn't have a zipper, all right, so I'll leave 1/2 inch at the armhole for sewing allowance. We didn't add that on the pattern, but every other allowance has been added. So I'll just cut it like this. The shoulder allowance has been added. I'll cut it straight, and the neckline allowance has been added too, so I'll just cut it straight just like this. Okay, so this is our back piece. As you can see, it's on fold. So I'll go ahead and trim out the neckline for the front, okay, and then the armhole for the front as well. And then, like I said, there's no zipper, so we'll need to leave an opening at the front. So I'll come down by 6.5 inches from the shoulder. 6.5 inches, that is 4.5 inches from my front neckline. All right, 4.5 inches. As you can see, if you're taking it from the shoulder, is 6.5 inches. I'll go in by 1/2 inch at the upper part and then connect it just like this with a little curve. You can make it straight, it's still fine, and then I'll cut it out just like this. I'll fold my fabric into two like we did to the front, and then I'm going to cut it out. The center front is on fold, okay. If you find this video helpful, please give me a like. All right, like the video and drop a comment if you can. I would really appreciate. All right, I love you all. So I'll just go ahead and cut open the neck just like this, and this is our front piece. As you can see, very beautiful. The next thing I'll do is to cut out the facing. So I fold a piece, I fold it into two just like this, and I'll place the front piece on it, trim out the excess, cut the shoulder and the neckline following the main piece. All right, I'm going to cut the opening at the front as well, trace it on the neckline as well, okay, and I'll give it a little shape at the down part. And this is our facing for the front. I'm going to place it right side facing with the main piece, and I'll stitch it all the way around just like this, okay, all the way around. We are going to use the piece to turn it. For the back as well, I'm going to fold a piece, and I'm going to fold the back piece as well, and I'll place them just like this. I'll place the main piece on the facing, just the same thing we did to the front, and I'll trace the neckline and the shoulder. All right, cut off the excess and then give it a nice shape at the down part as well. Okay, this is a very simple dress. I'll stitch it down with 1/2 inch. So this is it. Make sure you notch it so that by the time you turn it to the right side, it's going to, relax. So I'm just going to turn it and iron it down. I'll do that off camera. I don't want the video to be too long, so I'm just going to iron it off camera. So for the front as well, I'm going to notch it. Okay, I've stitched it down like I explained. I'm going to notch it and then trim out the excess as well. Okay, so give it a good notch, trim out the excess, and then you turn it to the right side and iron it down. So this is what I have after ironing. I'm going to place them right side facing, stitch it with 1/2 inch at the shoulder. Remember, we left 1/2 inch sewing allowance at the shoulder, and for the side as well, 1/2 inch sewing allowance. Okay, I'll fold the down part. You can just weave it and gum it with your hemming gum. So I've stitched it down like I explained with 1/2 inch, all right, and then I hem the down part as well. So this is what I have on the right side. Okay, the next thing we are going to do is to cut out our sleeve. So for that, I'm going to take the round armhole measurement. Take the round armhole measurement. Okay, what I have, I'm going to divide it by 2. I'll take note of what I have, divide it by 2, and keep it aside. My fabric is folded into 2. I'm going to fold it again. We are cutting the 2 sleeves together, all right, at once. So I fold my fabric into 4, as you can see, fold it into 2, and I fold it again. For the length, I'm going to be adding extra 3 inches to my actual sleeve length. My sleeve length is 23, and I'm going to be making use of 26. Okay, 26 for the sleeve length. You want to add extra inches so that the beauty of the sleeve is going to come out. Next, I'm going to take the sleeve cap height. I'm using 4.5 inches. I'll mark that here and then create a straight line. Then I'll mark 9 inches at the sleeve cap height line. I'm going to mark 9 inches, and I'm going to mark the center just like this, and I'll go ahead and create a slant from the 9 inches. I'm going to create a slant all the way to meet up with the sleeve length. Okay, and then I'm going to give it a curve. I'll go in by like 1/2 inch at this side, and then from the center I'll go out by like 1/2 inch. I'm doing this for the sake of my beginners. I hope this is clear enough. Next, I'll mark the round measurement I have on my dress. All right, the round armhole measurement I have on my dress, divide by 2. All right, I'm going to mark it and then add my sewing allowance of 1 inch. Okay, so make sure you have your round armhole measurement from the sleeve and that you add your sewing allowance. At the down part, I'm going to mark how wide I want the down part to be. For me, I'm making use of 14 inches. So go ahead and mark the width you want. Next, I'll connect it to the armhole measurement just like this. Guys, I'm so sorry. I was doing this thing, not knowing my phone wasn't recording. So this is what I did. Oh, that's very good. Guys, I'm a Nigerian. I hope you understand. So I'll continue with my phone touchlight. I'm just trying to fold back the sleeve so that you understand what I did. So I marked the width of the sleeve at the down part, like I said, and I connect it to the armhole just like this, and then I cut it out. And we have our 2 sleeves. All right, the next thing I'll do is to place them like this. Make sure it's right side facing right side, and I'll stitch down the sewing allowance I left. Okay, fold it like this, stitch down the sewing allowance all the way up. After that, this is what I have. I'll turn it to the right side and attach it to my dress. So turn it to the right side. This is what we have. Okay, they have brought back the lights. Bego, guys, I'm so sorry. So I'll just go ahead and attach it to my dress, right side facing right side. All right, right side of the sleeve facing right side. I'll pin it all the way down. And then move over to my sewing machine and stitch it down. So you can just pin it all the way down. So I'll move over to my sewing machine and stitch it all the way down, okay, with 1/2 inch, and I'll do the same thing to the second sleeve as well. And this is it, guys. The next thing I did was to weave the hem of the sleeve and fold it with hemming gum, and this is what we have. Very beautiful. Thank you all for watching. I love you all, and I will see you all in my next video. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and drop a comment. Bye.